Today I want to share with you something that I have known for a long time, or rather that I have remembered recently, that we are not our mind or what it creates, our thoughts, emotions, habitual thinking, etc. But yet I've been operating pretty much everything through the control panels of my mind, both in a more conscious way, like directing my thoughts, doing gratitude practice, self-mastery, like practices of instant shift where whenever you sense a negative emotion, you recognize it and reframe it into a positive one. But also trying to dissolve the pain, any negative emotion, negative thinking pattern that is often very diffuse, since it's stored in our subconscious. We don't often recognize the thought behind it. We just feel this sense of not feeling good, not feeling aligned. So in a little more unconscious way, my awareness not being present enough, I try to use the mind to dissolve the negative patterns and the pain constructed by the very instrument itself. I don't label anything or anyone, but for the sake of this example, to give it some context, I once heard one spiritual teacher say, the problem is that we try to use the mind to silence the mind. And directly, I felt this to be true. It felt tangible, but I tried to grasp it with my mind and use my intellect to understand it. But last fall, I just quit doing my so-called daily gratitude practice. And the reason why I did it was not because I didn't felt or believed that it was giving me something of value, because it did, but I felt and recognized that it has turned into a must, something that became more like a part of my identity. And I recognized my awareness were present enough to recognize that this is the play of the ego. This is how our ego mirrors what is once let in our minds and start to copy it so that the ego can build a program of identity, even if that energy came from the source of your spirit, your being, and you felt a realization, like what we call inspired ideas. You receive energy flow from your true self, and when it's let into the mind, our mind can take that energy and turn it into one so-called inspired idea. So I recognized that, and therefore I just quit without trying to give it any motivation why I did it or a reason. I just felt like I need to unchain myself from any concept, even incredible instruments and concepts that I have created myself. I need to remember that I am not them. I am not the usage of any instrument. I am not the usage of my mind. I am not what I create. And this spring, something incredible happened. My being made me aware through a flow sensation. Whenever I felt a diffuse emotion, it was directed to my stomach, or rather what's underneath and beyond my physical body. And the amazing thing was that it immediately dissolved. And I instantly knew that I had discovered, or rather remembered, a dimension from the source of the truth. It was not an accident, but it happened so naturally. Because often when we have those negative emotions that we don't really notice where they're coming from, it's a projection from our subconscious, what is stored in our subconscious. And I often tend to apply practices to reframe whatever thought that had constructed the emotion in the first place. But what happened this spring was, due to my awareness being enough present, it take command. It immediately directed a negative emotion to the stomach or beyond the stomach, and it immediately dissolved. And I instantly knew this. This must be the bridge between my infinite being and my current physical form. Using and the usage of the mind and body for what it is made for. I just want to be clear on one thing here. There's nothing wrong with using the mind. Contrary, it is a magical instrument when we use it the right way. But many of us let it use us, and that shapes our experience of this journey or our life situations. And when the mind uses us, that basically means that not enough of our awareness is present, because the mind pretty much operates itself on autopilot. And when it does, it projects all those blockages like identity, intellectual time, all the concepts of duality, must, important, and those blockages hinders the free flow from our spirit, from our being to flow to and through us. And when I say us, I actually mean our current home, our current physical form within, beyond where our infinite being lies. And when the mind takes over the show, we start to identify it and give it even more power and let it create all those limiting identities for us. What I realized, or rather remembering through the sensation of immediately dissolving any negativity when it was directed to this bridge that I experienced as beyond my guts, was that unconscious use of the mind creates pain, such as limiting thoughts, chains of the inherited concepts created by our ego. But by using the power of our conscious focus, can direct any negative and unconscious projection from the limited source of the mind and direct it to the bridge to the infinite, where it immediately dissolves. And the present moment is timeless and infinite. And whenever we remember to open that portal by directing our focus there, we can enter the mind with the present awareness and start to use the mind and the body to what it is made for. To create and manifest what our spirit desires, and our spirit desires to experience this world through the light of its present. And how we know that we are experienced life through the light of the present of our awareness is when we feel aligned, meaning when we feel the good sensations that we call happiness, unconditional love, flow, and so on. And the meaning with creating this for you is not explain to you how it is, but rather to provide you signposts to guide yourself through the focus of your awareness and spread the light of the awareness to discover the inner dimensions of yourself. Because no words, no language itself can contain any of the infinite truth. It can only point you to the source of the truth. And the next time you experience a diffuse negative emotion, direct it, because you will feel it up in your head, and immediately just direct it to your so-called stomach, where the bridge between your being and this physical current form lies. And once you do that, the feeling will intensify. But by not using the mind, you will pretty soon feel for yourself that after this short sense of the feeling being intensified, it will dissolve. And when it dissolves, it feels like magic. So don't use your mind to try to dissolve it. But because what that will do is that the mind that has created the thought, the emotion in the first place, will gain even more power to operate a show. And sometimes when we use our mind to dissolve a negative feeling, sometimes we succeed and it feels good for a short while, but we are unconsciously giving all the power, even more power, to the mind to construct these kind of thoughts and emotions that it stores in the subconscious that made us feel pain in the first place. So let the bridge between your being and your current form dissolve it naturally. And the bridge between your being and your current physical form is the dimension of the unmanifested. And this is valuable to discover for yourself, because through the operation of our mind, we are always manifesting. And what we manifest, it's often a mix between conscious manifesting and unconscious manifesting. Meaning, if you know about the principles and manifestation, you can direct your thoughts, you can gain talents of self-mastery and visualize what you want and see it come to fruition, see it manifest. But since we have so much going on in our subconscious, we are manifesting that too. So, for instance, when people say, I don't believe in manifestation, or manifestation doesn't work, or manifestation doesn't work for me, the truth is that we are always manifesting. But the question is, are we manifesting consciously or unconsciously? And for me, realizing that the bridge between my being and this physical form I'm currently operating through is the dimension of the unmanifested, it comes clear to me that dissolving all the negativity, all the pain, all the suffering, whatever name we call it, we dissolve that in the unmanifested dimension. That's so incredible because, first of all, experiencing this life through the filter and the perspectives of pain is not something that anybody strive for, even if many do it. We don't want that. And our spirit's desire isn't that either. So being able to dissolve it immediately will enrich this journey that we call life. And even if any manifestation itself cannot bring you happiness, because happiness is always within you, always already present, because it's just a word for a dimension of your awareness. But when we want to manifest things, understanding that we can dissolve the energy and the fuel behind the things that we don't want to manifest, that is so incredible. I hope you found this video valuable, that it ignited some new sparks within you, questions or signposts leading you further to truth within yourself, because I can not provide you with any truth. It is for you to discover and to remember, but I'm here to serve as your guide, to let your awareness, your infinite being, your incredible spirit become more and more present, so that you will experience this journey we call life as the most magnificent and happy life that you dreamt of, and to serve as a guide in your manifestation journey, due towards the remembering that manifestation is incredible and we are always manifesting. It will not bring you any happiness because it's within, but like with any principles, formula, concept we use, it's either good or bad. It's about the energy in the usage behind it. So I just want to close with that. Manifestation itself will not make you happy, but since we are already always manifesting, understanding how to manifest what we actually want and manifest what is aligned with our spirit's light is the preferred usage. So why not manifest what your spirit desire rather than what your mind doesn't want? Love always.